Good morning. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning. I just did a video yesterday about bad customer service and how black people we put up with so much disrespect, and that we shouldn't put up with the disrespect, and spend our money. See, they then a lot of times we will put up with some disrespect, and even though we talk about the disrespect, we still spend our money with them. Like I say, I'm not giving you a quarter for bad disrespect. And I brought up the civil rights movement and how, we used to put up with so much disrespect at the lunch counters and all that. And we figured it was all right. But see, that was a bamboozlement. That was a part of the miseducation for you to think that it's okay. It's your right to spend money after you get disrespected and all that. And we don't have to. The ultimate freedom is being able to say, you know what? I'm not gonna spend no money with you. But see, my cousin and a few of my, students, they seen it, and they were talking about it, and they say, well, Mr. Ross, how can we spend money even though we need these products? And it's a lack of black businesses in our community. And it is. I'm talking about when it comes to small things, like toilet paper, beauty supplies. You'll find out you'll take $100 bill and you leave your house, and by the time you get home, you haven't spent money. You go out, you say you go get some small toiletries or some food or whatever, and you're spending money with other people. And it's not a racist rant or whatever. I mean, it's just facts. Y'all see it, but people try to deny that they don't see it. And we have a serious lack of black businesses. Now this is my t-shirt from my mom. I lost her last year to cancer, excuse me. Ooh. Anyway, she was the block club president, so now I took over the block club as the president to live her legacy on. But anyway, I got a lot of this from my mom and my grandmother when it comes to the community and things like that. But we need to develop businesses in our community, and that's why I developed the Vera Reed Business Academy to teach 5-year-olds to 17-year-olds about business, going into business. Our financial literacy class is strictly about business. It's not about fixing your credit and all this. It's about taking what you have, your God-given skills, some skills you learned, as well as whatever product you have at your disposal, and you use that to go into business without the loans, without the begging. You just take what you have and you go into business. That's what we teach at the Vera Reed Business Academy. And I say 5-year-olds because reading is the genesis, for lack of a better phrase, of the Vera Reed Business Academy. Because reading is the absolute most powerful thing you can do as a black person, period. See, reading got us out of slavery. The lack of reading put us back into mental slavery. See, it's one thing to have shackles on your wrist and shackles on your feet, and you look over and you can see freedom. But when you got shackles on your mind, you can't look over and see freedom unless somebody exposes you to it. But anyway, we need more businesses in our community. But when you have the business in your community, you have to give the ultimate customer service. See, I'm writing a book right now about, I'm not going to tell the title because somebody may try to take the idea and then mess it up, because it's about how we do business is different from everybody else. Simply because of the, excuse me, it's like 5:30 in the morning. I was just inspired to get on here. It's just different from everybody else because we deal with the whole world, including each other, boycotting black businesses, because that's how we were taught to boycott black businesses, And it's strategy on how to do business as a black person. And it's different from everybody else. That's what we have to realize. It's different. If you want to succeed in business while being black, you have to navigate through different things and know certain things and not get in your feelings when somebody hits you with some racism or some criticism, and they may not have came how you think a person should come. They may came very rude and disrespectful, but you have to say, you know what, I'm gonna eat that and keep pushing, because I also teach in my program basically a spiritual, mental, physical, and financial self-defense. Because people like to come at us all the time, and what we do, we want to get all mad. That ain't how we do it. You just take it, roll off, boom, come right back. I understand, people try to compare us to all Mexicans. They try to compare us to da-da-da-da. You know what? You can take it how you want to take it. But like my grandmother always said, and Vera Reed actually is my grandmother, the absolute greatest person I've ever met in my life. Like she said, you have to be 100 times better than everybody else, because you're going to deal with 100 times more scrutiny than everybody else. And you have to take it and keep pushing. So once we get past all that, we have to put more businesses in our community. We don't have enough businesses to even put the money into the business. We always talk about, man, spend black. You really think about it, when you leave out your house and you're trying to spend some money, it's hard to spend black. First of all, you don't know what the businesses are. And then when you go in there, it's the service, because we don't know basically how to run businesses. And I've been studying and running businesses all my life. And I had to put up with a lot of adversity, because that's what I've chose. And I had to study business, because I'm not going to learn business like I'm supposed to learn it. Because they're not going to teach it to me. They're not going to teach it in my community. They're not going to teach it where I'm at. No, I didn't go to Harvard. No, I didn't go over here, and all these old different so-called institutions. But these so-called institutions are not going to teach a black person how to successfully succeed in business. Because, see, I'm wealthy. I'm wealthy because I can run a business. I can take anything and start a business and make some money off of it. First of all, because I respect your dollar. I respect the customer's dollar. And I respect them. So that's the first thing. And I don't mind giving great customer service. And another thing, I don't look at you as, okay, this person is black, because we can be the most racist people in the world if we really think about it. This person is black, they ain't got no money, because the whole landscape, for lack of a better phrase, in our community or in the world is that black people are poor. So how you be poor and you spending trillions into the system every year? How is that? Where the money coming from? A lot of it's coming from subsidy from the government, a job, or whatever. But it's not, or some hustling you doing, but it's not legitimate business. Let's face it. This is 2023, and we don't have the businesses that we supposed to have in our community. First of all, you got parents raising kids and not giving them chores. What do I mean by chores? See, we always talk about we need to put trade schools in the schools, or we wait on somebody else to put in there. But see, I learned trades from my grandmother. My grandmother, when you start walking in my grandmother's house, or when my grandmother knew, I could be living somewhere else. When you start walking, you start working. You start working. And my grandmother will always pay you, but she gonna make sure you do the work good. When I was coming up, I was 5 years old. I used to edge grass with a butter knife. Yes. Now I got a weed whip. I'm surgical because I learned from adversity. My grandmother put you out there, and then all she would do was say, "Look, you're gonna do it this right, this way, da 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 da. It's gonna be right." Until she had Alzheimer's. She passed from Alzheimer's, which is the worst disease ever. And I like to put my money in Alzheimer's programs, whatever. But She taught me skills to pay the bills. And you got parents out here nowadays that won't give their kids chores. I mean, I got friends out here, a friend of mine right now, he had 3 sons. And he pays somebody else to cut his grass. Come on, brother. He pays somebody else to clean his house. My grandmother wouldn't put up with that. My mother either. She won't put up with that. You gonna do this work. Well, I need my garage painted, grandson, and you gonna paint it. And you gonna paint it right. You're gonna scrape it, you're gonna clean it up, and you're gonna paint it right. And then I'm gonna ask you like this. This is the hardest question my grandmother used to ask me. How much do I owe you? That's when I got older. How much do I owe you? And you're like, how do I tell my grandmother a price? Now she'll let you know if it's too high or she'll let you know if it's too low. You know, and she was always about receipts. She used to send you to the store. You go to the store, you better come back with that receipt and her change, or it's gonna be some problems. So even to this day, I make sure, I don't care if it's penny candy, I want a receipt. And a lot of times you deal with a lot of people, my machine not working. Bro, all I want is a receipt. But I learned these skills from my grandmother. Like I say, the greatest person I've ever met in my life to this day is my grandmother. I was blessed that Vera Emery was my grandmother. I mean, God just touched me and said, look, I'm going to put you here because you got a mission to do, but you have to go with this woman right here. And then as I got older, I studied the structure of business. When I was in high school, we had to do a research papers. I was in the 12th grade. And my teacher said, okay, y'all pick out the research paper that you want to do it on. So I said, I want to do mine on Rockefeller. Because my grandmother keeps saying, hold on, I'm not Rockefeller. Wait a minute. So I'm like, who is this Rockefeller she keep talking about? So my teacher said, Miss John D. Rockefeller. I said, oh, I want to do a research paper on John D. Rockefeller. So when I did this paper on John D. Rockefeller, I found out how he was one of the richest man in the country, in the country, in the history of this country. Now I know y'all arguably may say this with it, but whatever. And what he did was he refined oil, and he was about getting his money together. He was accounting and all that. And even to this day, he was about, when he passed, he was about worth $400 billion. The richest man in the world right now hasn't reached that point, but they're working on it. And to this day, it's 2023 now. This is in 1800s. His wealth has generated 11 times. So that's generational wealth for real. 11 times, and his family, they still 7 times. My mistake. 7 times. And so it's 7 generations, and they have about 11 billion now as a family, and it's spread out amongst about like 117, something like that, 117 heirs. But that's generational wealth for real. Henry Ford is another person. When I was studying, doing my research paper, I came across this book called The Robber Barons. And it had all these entrepreneurs in this book. And I read about it. I read about Henry Ford, John Wanamaker, Andrew Carnegie. I read about all these people in this book, and it was just fascinating to me how they was making all this money and being business people. I'm like, wow. I mean, these people were making, serious money, and they was hard-nosed negotiators and all that. And another thing, they took their money, a lot of it, and they invested in their community with libraries and things like that. You wouldn't believe if I tell you this, but John D. Rockefeller is who started Spelman College. And Spelman was his wife's middle name. He put that money down in the Spelman to get Spelman going. See? But that's what you can do when you got that type of money. See, I'm wealthy because I invest in my children, my youth. I invest in them. If you come to my classroom and you in a school or whatever, you show me a 4.0 report card, I'll give you $40. I started at $20. I'll give you $40 now. You got straight A on your spelling test, you get $10. You show me a first place trophy from swimming, first place from a spelling bee or academic games, you got at least $10, $20 coming from me. I keep fruit in my classroom every single day. And I don't ask for help. I don't ask them for investment. I don't do all that. I mean, I do it because I do that through the Deborah Rushing Foundation for Community Development since my mom passed. But she was another one. She was all community, all education. You know, we had libraries in the house. You know, my mother had libraries all in the bathroom, but that's another story I'll tell you about. Yes, so we need to develop businesses in our community, you know, or we not going to survive. We're constantly spending our money outside of our community. And it's funny, we spend it outside of our community, within our community. I mean, if you actually open your eyes and pay attention, you know, and I'm not mad at these people because business is business. But we're not in business. First of all, we were taught not to like each other. I don't like you. So it's like if you go into a business that they're working at, they go to a Home Depot or whatever, they're working at the business. They still walk up to you with bad customers. They don't even walk up to you. You got to find them. And they still give you bad customer service because we're taught not to like each other. See, we're taught that. I don't like you. Oh, she ain't got no money. One time I asked a young lady, I asked a man, I said, excuse me, I'm standing in the store. I don't have time. This place is this, you know the inventory. I don't know the inventory. I just walk into the store. But I don't have time. The most valuable thing on the planet is time. And I don't have time to waste. The guy come over. Well, he ain't come over. I had to call him. Excuse me. They walking around. They act like they don't see us. Excuse me, I need to make a key. Or I'll get somebody to help you. So he called a young lady. She young. She walked to me. She took the key, didn't even say hello, none of that. And I'm in my 50s. She talked to me like I was like, even though she talked to me like I was a child. She didn't even talk to me, but she treated me like a child. But still, you know, you put a treat a child like that because I wouldn't treat none of mine. But anyway, she just took it. Then she make and model the car. Like I was getting on her nerve. It ain't like I'm coming here begging, excuse me, ma'am, I don't really have no money. Could you help me make a key for my Section 8 house? I didn't do that. You know, and I learned in business when I used to work for this leather company. Never underestimate a person's spending. This man walked into, it was at Tannery West, leather place. The man walked into Tannery West and he said, he wanted some leather, so I'm showing him the leather. And as we're walking around, I'm showing him the leather. I keep mentioning layaway. You know, man, you can put it in layaway. Because I was thinking, this man is black. He don't really have no money. That's me, my prejudicial thoughts, because that's how I was conditioned in school to think, oh, this person ain't got no money. This person ain't got no money. So we walk around because that's all they talk about. Underdeveloped neighborhoods and all this, always black. But that's propaganda to think you don't have no money. But anyway, so I'm walking the man around. He said, excuse me, man. He said, wait a minute, man. I said, oh, why you keep talking to me about layaway? So I said, wow, He said, man, I own 3 cleaners, man. He said, I can buy all the leather in this place. I don't even have to be here, really. I got leather in my store. So I'm sitting there with my mouth open like, and it hit me. Why are you talking to this man like that? You think he broke? So he said, all the leathers you just talked to me about, those 4 leathers, give me all those 4 leathers, the leather jackets. Give me all the cleaning supplies you was talking about and all that. And I'll pay cash for that. I will use my cards, but I'm gonna pay cash for it. And he was taking the time to teach me a lesson. And like he said, young man, never underestimate who you're dealing with in business. And I never forgot that. So if I'm doing business with you, I treat you like a millionaire. And if you start crying to me, telling me you ain't got no money, I don't want to hear it. This is my price. I'm not negotiating. I'm not going down and up. This is my price. Because you dealing with quality service, or this is a quality product that I'm selling you. And I'm not moving on my price. And I'm not going to stand here too long and negotiate about it. And I'm giving you customer service with a smile. See, that's the other side. No, your product or service is not that much quality. So, because it's not, the white man's ice is colder. See, this is stuff we learned. I mean, hey, this is what they put out here. Anyway, back to the key situation. So, she going through it, she making model the car. And she got an attitude like, dang, excuse me? So I tell her, make a model the vehicle, whatever. No, actually, I needed for no, it was for my vehicle. That's right. So she ran the key, handed it to me, and walked away. But young lady, that's one key. How you know I don't own? You didn't ask me. First of all, you come to me. Hello, how you doing? What can I help you with, young sir? Okay. You need a key made? How are you doing today? That makes me feel good. That even opens my pocket string, my wallet strings up. I don't care how cute you look or whatever. I'm talking about your service. Then you talking, you putting the thing in. You don't know if I own 4 dealerships. Not only do I want one key, matter of fact, since you did that so good, tell you what, hey, tell my business partner, we gonna have her do 100 keys today. You don't know who you're dealing with. So don't just think that a person is they want one key. You in business to make money. So if you can't give good customer service when you work for somebody, how you gonna get customer service when you got your own business? See, that's another thing we have to get rid of. The fact that I don't like you. Why you don't like me? Because you taught that. We're taught to hate each other as black people. And I'm just speaking facts. Now, if YouTube or my social media want to shut me down or whatever, but it's the truth. If you're paying attention, stop acting like you're not paying attention. Stop listening to the news and actually look at life for real and say, wow, that is what's going on. That is what I see. Okay? But I'm saying that's why we teach it in our school, the Vera Reed Business Academy. Is how not to underestimate somebody's spending. How a smile is contagious. You smile. I learned that also from going downtown, taking care of my grandmother's businesses. She would send me downtown, and my grandmother paid for everything. If you address some envelopes, that's why I learned how to address envelopes from my grandmother and my mother, and they always paid you. Here you go. Even my mother. My mother said, I need you to write a letter. Okay, Ma, I'll write the letter. It's got to be right. She proofreads, got to proofread it, all that. Here you go, son. Boom. See, that's skills to pay the bills. And that's what I was taught by my mom, my grandmother. That's how our family was ran. A lot of my siblings and relatives, I don't think they got the same training I got because they all over the place, And I just keep it moving, try to talk to them, keep it moving, But we need more businesses in our community. So come see some of our videos. Come to some of our, go to the Vera Reed Business Academy. It's on YouTube. And we're working on the website and things like that now. So January, the website will definitely be up and going. And you'll be able to register for classes or whatever. And emphasize the parents to come into the class so you can learn on how to give your kids chores. And, they don't tolerate disrespect for your kids. Look, I'm going to need you to mop the floor. I'm going to need you to clean the kitchen. I'm going to need you to cut the grass and do it right. Don't cut the grass and leave grass on top of the grass. Do it right, or we're going to have a problem. It ain't always about whooping a kid, beating a kid. It ain't about that. It's about, what? I could turn deadbeat on you. I got to tell my daughter sometimes. She would try to get disrespectful. Excuse me? I love you like you the greatest thing on the planet to me. To this day, my daughter's the greatest thing on the planet to me. But you disrespect me, I can turn deadbeat on you. Like I don't know you. I ain't got to take care of you. I ain't got to feed you. I ain't got to give you no advice. I ain't got to give you no money. I ain't got to give you a quarter. As a matter of fact, I don't know you. How about that? Who you think you're talking to? That's how my mother was talk to you. My mother said, you going to need me before I need you. You going to need me before I need you. That's real. And she meant that. I mean, I don't care how rich you get, young man. You going to need me before I need you. And that was real. Because I always needed advice from my mother. I always needed advice from my grandmother. Because they know. And they're going to give you advice because they care about you. But if you're going to be disrespectful, you can get out. My mother used to say that 4 feet 11, 98 pounds. Who you think she never raised her voice. What? She just go low. Who do you think you're talking to? Who do you think you're talking to? You think you're talking to me? You know what you can do? Tough guy. Since you so tough, here's a DTE bill. Pay that. No. 0 balance, big fella. Here you go. Since you're so tough. See that refrigerator over there? Fill it. Big fella. Since you want to be so disrespectful to me. You think you're talking to? You think you're talking to? When school time comes, I want you to go buy you some school clothes on your own. Okay? Big fella. I know it's cold outside, big fella. Get out. No, don't pack your bags, because those are the clothes I got you. And you can get out now. Since you want to be so disrespectful, and you notice, she put a hand on me. She let me know who has the power. Not you. All that disrespect you trying to give me, you can leave. And when it comes to my students, I tell them the same thing. Y'all teachers, y'all people act like some of these teachers, well, I can't handle my students. Bottom line is, I'm the one with the education. I'm trying to give it to you. Now, if you don't want to like it, you don't like it and don't want to accept it, you can leave. Leave the classroom. If you don't leave, I'm gonna have you removed. Because you should embrace the knowledge I'm giving you, okay? Because you're not gonna get this knowledge nowhere else. Guaranteed. Guaranteed, because I'm giving you what I experienced. So you won't have to go through the same bumps and ditches that I went through to have the business acumen that I have to this day. I'm one of the most educated business people on the planet. I'm talking about raw. I don't do loans. I don't go to the bank and beg for money. I don't. I make money for what I got. That's what I do. You know, you see this art behind me? That's one of my students' art right there. You know, she did the art. She gave it to me. But a lot of times, like I tell my students, whenever they do something like that, I pay for it. But she gave that to me. But I pay for it. But believe me, my student Jayla, I look out for all the time. Jayla's came in with 4.0s. Here you go, Jayla. Boom. Because one thing I'm showing my students, the main thing that I'm showing my students is I keep my word. Very important. If I say I'm going to compensate you, or excuse me, compensate you whatever for a 4.0, that's what I'm going to do. So I got to make sure I got that money around. Like I tell my students, break me. Break me. What's going to go? What if all of us come here? Good. And I don't even look at it as a payment. I look at it as an investment. And not only their future, my future. Because if these young people out here are very, very successful in their endeavors, that means the whole world is better for me. So it's an investment. And I'm never leaking when it comes to that. If all my students came in 4.0, boom. And I always question them. You know, if they got when they got a business. You know, we always talk about set up a business. I am the bank. I am the venture capitalist. I am the investment banker. You come in with a plan. I'm not going to look at your credit. I'm going to look at your credibility. Do you show up on time? You keep your word. You have your equipment when you come to class. You are equipped, everything. I look at that. See, people can tell me anything. I look at your actions. What do you do? What are you doing? When I first meet my students, the first time I meet them, I ask them their name. I shake their hand, girls and boys. I look them in the eye. I say, "What you want to be when you become an adult?" Ultimate question. And sometimes the parents look at me. I look out the corner of my eye. I can see the parents stepping back like, "Dang, I never asked my child that." Right. Because everyone has to have a goal in life. Everyone. You have to have, I don't care if you're 99 years old, you have to say, what am I doing to make it to 100? I'm going to be doing this until I drop in this world. I'm going to have plans and goals before I drop. See, I don't care what you can say about mental illness and all that. You want to fight mental illness? Have a goal. See, something that wakes you up in the morning, something that's you passionate about. Like Warren Buffett says, and I quote it: "Do what you love." Then I back it up with love what you do, because then it's not work. What I do, I have a passion for it. I have a total passion for it, and I love it. I love education. My daughter, had the unfortunate pleasure of losing my wife to heart disease. And my daughter was 8. And I made it my mission, even when she was born, I made it my mission to make sure she was highly educated. And no one is going to stop me. Like I tell my students, I don't care if all the schools close down and all the libraries close down. That shouldn't stop you from getting an education. See, once you learn how to read, your whole world opens up. All you got to do is read. And people talk about banning books or whatever. Why would I be concerned about you banning books at your school? I have the ultimate library. I continuously save books, find books, because God put them there for me. I have storage units with nothing but books in it. So I don't care what you say, what you want to ban, whatever. My students going to read. And then I encourage them to read. I also encourage them to write. And you'll find that if you consistently have these young people working with computers and working with phones, they're not going to be able to be a good speller, because the phone and the computer spells for you. But when I have them, put your phone up, put your computer up, here's a spiral notebook, here's a pencil, write. I need 8 sentences on Jack Johnson. I need to know who founded Nike. Look it up. Now you can look it up on your phone. I'll let them do that. But I need you to write it. Write the 6 sentences. I want you to spell it right, and I want you to proofread it. Because if you give it to me and it's misspelled, now we got a problem. You got some misspells, which means you didn't pay attention to me. You didn't proofread it. That's like somebody write you a check in the days while we still write checks. Or somebody give you a contract, you didn't proofread it. Now you go to the bank to cash a check or whatever, deposit in your bank account, and it has Mickey Mouse on the check instead of your name, because you didn't proofread it. That's why it's important. See, our young people have to be educated on a revolutionary level. See, with the Vera Reed Business Academy, our main goal is to revolutionize education as it stands to this day. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what your education is and all this old kind of stuff, trying to talk, come at me with it. Because that young lady that I had to raise myself, actually I didn't have to do it. I could have said, "Ma, I can't handle this. Here, Ma." Or put her up for adoption. That was my baby. My wife she blessed me with a beautiful baby girl. And I made it my mission to make sure I raised that young lady. I gave her 5 pages of homework every single day. My daughter right now is working on her PhD in pharmacology. She has, 3 degrees? She has a bachelor's from Jackson State University in chemistry, a master's from Jackson State University in chemistry. She just got a master's in science with a concentration in chemistry from Wayne State. Now she switched to pharmacology because she enjoys that. And she's like, I just want her to be Dr. Brianna Ross. That's the whole objective. And then once you get that, okay, Bree, that's nice. Now I want to see some patents. But see, knowledge is not power until you put it to work. Let me repeat myself, because I know a lot of times people don't pay attention to my voice. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is not power. If you just sit there. I got library right now. You know, a small one right now in my office right now. But if I don't read it, it's just sitting up there gaining dust. My daughter can have 10 degrees and we can just take the walls and just, you know, use them as wallpaper. They nice. They pretty. With the low old English lettering. They pretty. But when are we going to do some chemistry? When are we going to develop some patents? When are we going to make another glue? When are we going to make another insecticide? A healthy one. When are we going to make a fertilizer to fertilize the garden? Or your degrees ain't worth a quarter. See, that's cute. They cute. They pretty. Yeah, I know you work for them or whatever. What you gonna do now? You gonna take all them degrees on the wall and go work for Walmart? What you gonna do? Or you gonna take that knowledge and you're gonna develop something. And over till you have 100 patents. And them 100 patents, you're gonna have one of the richest legacies on the planet. When I look at these lists of black inventors who died poor, a lot of them, what did you do with that invention? Okay, you got a patent for it. Did you market it? All you inventors, I don't see you on Forbes. I don't see your 7 generations of the money you made off that invention. That's what I'm looking for. I don't want to sit in Black History Month or class studying Black history and I see all these inventions. That's nice. What is your family legacy now? Yeah, you made them in 1800 or whatever. So that means you like John D. Rockefeller, you got generational wealth from that invention, or somebody snatched it from you and made money off of it. See, that's the reality of history. All this, yeah. Oh, I got a list of black inventors. That's nice. Name me one of them on there that's got 7, 8 generations of wealth to this day. And then, fine. But it's very rare that you'll find that. And that's a problem. That's the problem. And you got a lot of entities that's keeping us from being in business. And it's real subtle. It's our education system, public school education, keeping you from being in business. You got your friends. You got people not only going to boycott your business, they're not going to invest in your business either. When I came home from college after I discovered, I started studying the Forbes 400. I was at a party, and a friend of mine, my mom taught me how to associate with other nationalities without being afraid and standing tall on who I am as a black man. I didn't let anybody compromise me or talk to me any kind of way. You're not doing that. But I also learned from these people by being in their environment. And yeah, they shot little racist jokes. I mean, yeah, but I came right back at them. What about this? What about that? Who do you think you're talking to? Who do you think you're talking to me? Well, let's break down the facts. And then when I was talking to them, the reality hit me. Like one guy was talking about Sanford and Son. He was talking about how Sanford and Son is was poor and all that. I said, wait a minute. And it didn't hit me until we started talking. I said, wait a minute. Sanford and Son, they were in business. Him and his son, because he's talking about, man, he lived with his dad. They were in business. They were in the junk business. It may look pretty bad, whatever, but they were in business. That truck said Sanford and Son on. He had a pickup truck. That's money. He had junk. That's money. He's selling junk. He collecting junk, selling junk. That's money. He also had something called the Sanford Arms. He owned the property. He also owned another commercial property next door that he used as a hotel, the Sanford Arms. I didn't really pay attention to that. Now, my favorite TV show is The Jeffersons. Name me, that's the most powerful show for black people. Only person second to that, to me, is The Cosby Show. This man, name me one show on TV that the black man has, 7 to 10 cleaning stores? He got a wife that's right by his side, totally dedicated to his wife. Didn't cheat on her, no, didn't disrespect her. He don't care. If you disrespect his wife, that was it. He used to be all trying to catch up and trying to get with Mr. Whittendale, the banker. You know, trying to accommodate Mr. Whittendale. But said, when Mr. Whittendale said something about his wife, that was it. Who you think you're talking to? And I respected that. But see, that's a businessman. And he was a black businessman. And I thought that was a great show. I didn't respect Good Times, you know. But I read the Forbes 400, and it had all these billionaires on there. And of course, I just learned about John D. Rockefeller and all these other billionaires. So I didn't think black people had any money. I'm just talking about how I developed my mindset. Then I was reading because I was fascinated. Everybody was partying. I was reading because Sam Walton was on there at the top at $6 billion. And I'm like, I thought $1 million was all the money in the world, but you got a man here whose net worth, first of all, the phrase net worth came to me. Dang, net worth? Net worth of $6 billion. I'm like, $6 billion? Who is this man? I don't even know him. I never heard of Walmart stores. But I kept reading. I came across a name. It said John H. Johnson, Ebony Magazine. Wait a minute. I've been reading Ebony all my life. Ebony Jr., Jet. This man was worth $250 million. I said, oh my God. It's a black man on here that's worth $250 million. Now, this 2023 may not sound like a long money, but I tell you what, you have $250 million. And what I did after that, I started studying black. I read his book first of all. I was blessed to have the book Succeeding Against the Odds. Reading Succeeding Against the Odds. A book he made. He had Lerone Bennett write. And it was his autobiography. And I read it. It was like, wow. This man started a business in 1941. His mom, he had to come up with the money. He borrowed money from his mother's furniture. She used this collateral to start this business. And it was a beautiful story. Then I came across people like A.G. Gaston, the man who bailed Martin Luther King out of jail. The man who had black hotels. Back when they said whites only, you thought our people slept on the street. No. It was black people out here with businesses that was accommodating Martin Luther King and all them. But when you in school, you don't see that. So I'm studying A.G. Gaston. Then I studied Berry Gordy. I'm from Detroit, so I'm studying Motown and how his family all used to sit down and they had business meetings. This is what I'm studying. I wasn't studying this in school. It wasn't even at Michigan State. This is stuff I'm studying. Wow. But then I couldn't say nothing to nobody because when I talk about it, first thing we look at, what you got? I got the knowledge, brother, sister. I try to explain it. The only person that would understand is my grandmother. And one time my grandmother would invest. That's what she would do. I remember one time, I'll get a little emotional with this. One time I was shoveling snow across the street from my grandmother with a shovel. Shoot, I was like in my late 20s. And my grandmother said, excuse me. She said, grandson, come here. She poked out the door. Come here. So I came across the street and I said, what grandma, what you need, grandma? She said, I need you to go to the store, go to Home Depot, and price the snowblower. So I go to Home Depot and price the snowblower and came back. Say, hey, this is how much it costs, grandma. She went to the room. She went to her room. And she had 2 Crown Royal bags. One had money in it, one had a Saturday night special in it, you know, because my grandma's from Black Bottom. She was a gangster all her life. But anyway, excuse me. She came from the back room and she handed the money. And she said, no grandson of mine is going to be shoveling no snow commercially without a snowblower. That's powerful. I went to her. Got a snowblower. And one thing about my grandmother, even though you got that snowblower, you're going to shovel my snow first before you shovel anybody else's. Yes, ma'am. Whenever I drove over my truck or she didn't see my truck, where's your truck at? Well, grandmother, I'm trying to get her. I didn't ask her. I was just telling her, you know, I wouldn't want to ask her, but, you know, because I had a little pride about myself. She said, well, I need a fuel pump. Well, how much fuel pump cost? Yeah, get you a fuel pump. What are you doing? Because I'm going to need my grass cut. I'm going to need this work done around here. You know? But grandma, they got a new invention. It's a weed whip, but it has, you can put a blower on it. You can put an edger on it. You can put a weed whip on it. It's interchangeable. Really? You think you can use that? Yes, I can, grandma. Now, my grandmother had 10 kids. I was the oldest out of 30-some grandkids. And she spoiled everybody. Didn't have a driver's license, none of that. She spoiled everybody. Always had money. You know, she ran policy coming up, you know, running numbers. She was, my grandmother's about money. She was investing. So she go get it, grandson. And that's one of the reasons she's the greatest person I've ever met. Because she ain't had no problem with investing in you. If you was in school, she would send you a care package, whatever. If you had going to get you a job, you know how you get a job. They pay you in 3 weeks. They don't give you bus tickets to get to work. They'll give you gas money to get to work. Grandma be like, when you get paid? Okay, really? Here. That's for you to get to work. Here's a little bit more if you need something to eat. That's my grandmother. Or should I say our grandmother? See? You notice I'm not talking about a man. I had a grandfather, and he was very eccentric. He was a good man. But he wasn't there like my grandmother was. I was blessed. My mother had me at 15, by the way. And then she came home. My grandmother brought us home, and she helped raise both of us. My mom, she made sure my mother graduated from high school. My mother got a job at Chrysler 1 month out of high school. And every time my mother needed a babysitter, my grandmother was right there. Now, like my grandmother said, you got to pay me to babysit. Yeah, I know it's your grandson. I know it's my grandson. But you got to pay me. So she paid her, but when I was there, my grandmother taught me skills. You better read. You better do your homework. I ain't got time to play with you. Christmas, she bought us sleeping bags and bean bags. So you slept all around the house. You need to go to bed. No, I ain't got beds. Where your sleeping bag at? You come to the house. You come to my house unprepared. What's your problem? Where's your pajamas? And we always had to have pajama bottoms because my uncle used to tease you. You can't just have a t-shirt in your drawers. You had to have pajama bottoms. Other than that, you got a t-shirt on. You was mini skirt. Well, you want that mini skirt on. You know, I know politically whatever people talking about, but I'm talking about then. So you had to have pajama bottoms and house shoes. And you had to go to bed. And you wasn't going to be up eating up all night. That's them the policies of my grandmother's house. Yes, I mean, that's a great woman. I was blessed that God put me with her and my mother because, man, I just have so many fond memories of my grandmother and the things she taught me and things like that. So, now I went on to talk about that because I just want to emphasize the fact of being a parent and teaching your children skills to pay the bills. My daughter's a chemist because I took her to the scrap yard with me. And everybody look at scrap, junk, whatever, but that's a chemistry class. I'm going to repeat myself, I don't think you heard me. That's a chemistry class. My daughter's 8 years old, her little Timberlands on, little jeans on. She had a little magnet. I said, Daddy, I think this is copper. Periodic table. Daddy, I think this look like aluminum. Periodic table. Daddy, what's this? Is this aluminum? No, baby. Take it in there, they say it's zinc. Periodic table. So one time, I was working, and filled the pickup truck. I filled the pickup truck. I had a 1 ton. Filled it up with all kind of refrigerators and stoves and da. I'm dirty. Now, she would just sit in there. She would sit in the vehicle, be talking, you know. If I see some toys, I clean them up, let her get them. So she used to, that's when you could bring kids to the scrapyard. She would go in there, she would fill out the paperwork, and she would collect the money with her little hand, and then we'd go to McDonald's or whatever, go eat. But one time we found some zinc. We were like, zinc? Wow. So we had to go do the chemistry book and, you know, study, find out how to test for zinc. But one time after I had all this stuff, I'm going to say this and I'm going. All this stuff on the back of my truck. I mean, it took me a while to get it off the truck. So I think I got about $200 for it. So this man came into the scrap yard and he had some metals about the size of this. There's about 4 of them. And he threw them on the scale. Those 4 pieces of metal about this size was the same amount of he made the same amount of money that I made from a whole load of my truck. So my daughter looked at me, I said, what is that? He said, aluminum alloy. Back to the chemistry book again. Then after we was doing all that at the scrapyard, I bought a periodic table shower curtain for the bathroom. And my daughter, every time she went to the bathroom, she would look at that periodic table. Every time she was brushing her teeth in the morning, the periodic table was in the back of her. So she was always staying at that periodic table. And then she eventually got into chemistry, was in school. You know, I even told her chemistry teacher at Renaissance, I say, why don't you take the kids on a field trip to the scrapyard? Of course she ain't take me serious. You know how people do. She ain't take me serious. Oh, okay, fine. I ain't gonna beg you about it. You know, but that's how my baby learned a lot about chemistry. And she found out that day, when she was going with me, those days rather, that chemistry pays. That chemistry pays. So she's studying chemistry. So right now they pay her to go to school. They pay my baby. At first, you know, you do the student loan and all that garbage. And but now they pay her to go to school. Because she basically works for Big Pharma. Big Pharma they give the school a multi-million-dollar grant. And then the school has the students do the work. And learn at the same time. So it's like playing basketball. You know, you making all the school money, you know, and now I guess they worked it out where the school gets paid. They, you know, we pay for your education. And you know, make the school money with your basketball. And what are you learning? More basketball? No. That's what you're learning. But my daughter, she's learning more chemistry and learning more lab work as they pay her to go to school. So it's a win, 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 win. So I'm going to get off here right now, and let's work on more businesses, because I'm educating the youth, because these adults, you really can't talk to them. You could try, but they think they know everything and they set in their ways because they've been miseducated. So do what we can to start more business in the community so we can spend money with each other. Have a nice night, or have a nice day rather.